9 News at 5 a.m. starts right now.
Developing overnight, we just learned a shelter in place in Clear Creek County has been lifted before 1:30 this morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jordan Chavez.
And I'm Corey Rose. Deputies say they are looking for an armed suspect who has been seen trespassing several homes since Monday. 9 News reporter Brianna Fernandez joins us live in studio right now. Brianna, the shelter in place was lifted, but did they find the suspect?
Yeah, no word of the suspect has been caught yet. According to the sheriff's office, the suspect's car was spotted along Highway 103. So a chase happened and then a crash happened near the highway shortly after. This was the suspect's vehicle that you're seeing right now on your screen. Deputies say the armed suspect ran away. The man is wanted for burglary and trespassing onto private properties in the area of Highway 103 since Monday. He was caught on camera yesterday morning. Take a listen.
Hi, do you need help?
Yeah, Forest Service.
Yeah, so deputies say the suspect got onto this property in Idaho Springs between 9 and 10 yesterday morning, claiming he was with the U.S. Forest Service. The USFS confirmed this person is not affiliated with them. While on property, the suspect can be seen holding and loading a firearm and his face fully covered. You're seeing it right now. Shortly after, he disconnected that Ring camera. This isn't the only time he's been seen trespassing. On Monday, deputies say that he went onto 2 properties on Peaceful Valley Lane in Idaho Springs, also holding a handgun. He took over $2,000 worth of items and caused $2,000 worth of damage. After deputies spotted his car along Highway 103, the suspect got away. Deputies issued a shelter in place, which of course has now been lifted. The sheriff's office is using drones and canines to locate the suspect. Again, no word if the suspect has been arrested yet. Deputies say that they're going to continue the search early this morning and patrolling the area, including Idaho Springs. We know several agencies, including Golden Police and Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, are also assisting with the search, and people who live nearby are being asked to report anything suspicious and send in any pictures of surveillance videos as well. And if you do see the suspect, do not approach. Deputies are asking you to call 911. A very, very scary situation, Jordan, Corey.
Incredibly scary. All right, Brianna, thank you for that update. Clear Creek County Sheriff Matt Harris is stepping down nearly 2 years after he was appointed to the role. The sheriff's office announced today that Harris is leaving for another job in law enforcement. He was appointed in December of 2023. At the time, the sheriff's office was under scrutiny after the shooting death of Christian Glass. Harris is expected to leave the sheriff's office at the end of October. He has recommended to the county commissioners that Under Sheriff Matt Brown take over until the 2026 election.
All right, it's 5:02 right now on your Friday morning. We're taking a live look outside as we gear up for a gorgeous day ahead on the warmer side today. Katie, the long weekend is looking great too.
Oh yeah, we made it to Friday and weather-wise, very, very quiet here across Colorado. No big impacts if you do have any outdoor plans today. Really for the foreseeable future, we're not seeing any major storms on the 7-day forecast. This morning, we're waking up to partly cloudy skies, nice and cool, not quite as cold as this time yesterday. Temperatures sitting in the high 40s, low 50s for Morgan into downtown. Evergreen also pretty mild in the low 50s and not as cold in the mountains. Still walking the dog this morning, out and about. Probably want that extra layer, a light jacket, a sweatshirt. It is going to warm up quickly. By 10 o'clock, 68 degrees. You'll be able to lose the layer later on with daytime highs in the low 80s. So warmer weather settling in here for this afternoon. Visibility is fine. A little more cloud coverage than what we saw yesterday. It was bright sunshine galore. A weak disturbance rolling in will bring in a little bit of moisture over southwestern Colorado. It'll be dry for the Denver area and the eastern plains today, and highs in the low 80s. For tomorrow, a couple of mountain storms. It'll really be Sunday. We'll be watching the high country for the chance for late day scattered showers and thunderstorms. Low risk of any severe weather this weekend and should stay mainly dry, just breezy at times for the metro area and plains. So this ridge of high pressure in control. It's going to move slowly off to our east and will introduce this last little cutoff low that'll push in potentially some monsoon moisture for the western half of the state. And we are always grateful to see precipitation here in Colorado. Our most recent drought monitor, this does not account for this Tuesday's very heavy rain that we saw, but we are expecting to be completely out of drought here over the Denver area as that next drought monitor is released on Thursday. But Erica, I know a lot of people heading to the high country to do some leaf peeping this weekend. Dry conditions through at least Saturday, and then on Sunday will be our best chance for some wet weather. But I know this morning already it's been a really busy scene out on our roadways.
Yeah, you know, it's crazy, Katie. It got in a little bit before 4 o'clock this morning, and there was an interstate closure and another big crash. Those have already cleared out, though, at 5:04. The only lingering thing that we're dealing with this morning is an overnight crash on I-25 in the area of Arapahoe Road on the southbound side this morning. At one point, 4 lanes were blocked, meaning all lanes of the interstate were closed off. Right now, all we're dealing with is that far right lane closed off right around Arapahoe Road this morning. So we do still have a police presence out here, but you can see majority of the interstate is open and moving. So very low impact as far as if you're getting ready to travel through this area. The other crash we were dealing with on northbound I-25 that was closed to 84th, that has fully reopened. So this is where we were just looking. I-25 right around Arapahoe Road, only dealing with that far right lane closure as it stands. So not looking terrible out that way. We do have a crash though on northbound 225 right around Alameda, really not impacting your travel through the area. We do have a lane closure. We're seeing a little bit of a slowdown as you travel into Aurora, but again, not too significant either. And then your downtown to DTC drive this morning is in really good shape. Southbound and northbound, we're looking at a 14-minute commute both ways.
Erica, thank you. So Alice, Erica was just saying several lanes are now open on southbound I-25 at Arapahoe Road after a big crash last night. The crash shut down the interstate in that area for several hours. 6 people were hurt. The crash happened around 7 last night. South Metro Fire hasn't said how many cars were involved or what may have caused it, but they did say hazmat had to respond for a fuel leak. Again, as Erica said, as of this morning, 1 lane remains closed, but cars are getting through.
For the first time, we are hearing from the family of the second teenager who was shot at Evergreen High School. They released a statement saying their 14-year-old son came face to face with the shooter and helped others escape. The family is choosing to keep their identity private for now. They say that their son was shot at close range, suffered traumatic gunshot injuries, and has gone through multiple surgeries. Their statement reads in part, quote, he and his friend confronted the assailant, which undoubtedly allowed time for more students to flee and the school to lock down. The other student shot that day is Matthew Silverstone. His family says that he is still in critical condition, but is making small, encouraging improvements every day. In the weeks after the shooting at Evergreen High, safety and security at schools has been at the top of many parents' minds.
Boy, is that true. Colorado's largest school district is launching a new pilot program to help keep guns out of big games and events. Denver Public Schools is piloting a canine weapons detection program. Specially trained canines will be on hand at large events and games to sniff out microparticles and gunshot residue, able to smell out gunpowder and guns coming into events to keep those weapons away. Greg Cazell with DPS says in the age of school shootings, this is something they have to be mindful of.
We have to make sure that we are doing what we can to keep our staff and students safe. And this is another layer of protection that we think may pay dividends from not only a deterrent factor, but a prevention factor.
According to the district, DPS is the first in the state to run its own canine gunpowder sniffing program. The pilot program will cost around $160,000 and run from September through January.
Douglas County put metal detectors outside some stadiums as part of a pilot program this fall. The district spent $101,000 on 4 portable metal detectors. Aaron Kane, superintendent of Douglas County Schools, says they won't use them for every big game or event at the district, only some of them to address an increase of violence at high school football games across the country. Despite the fact that Dougco Schools has no track record of violence at high school football games. If this goes well, they're going to expand and add more metal detectors. The district is also requiring attendees bring clear bags this year.
1 person is dead after a shootout with Federal Heights police. 2 other people, including an officer, were hurt. This happened around 2 yesterday afternoon. A domestic disturbance call is what brought officers to the scene in the first place. When they got there, police say they tried to break up an assault. 3 people were reportedly inside a car, and the driver rammed into their patrol car. Officials say someone inside the car started shooting and officers shot back. 2 of the 3 people in the car were taken to the hospital. 1 of them died. 1 officer had minor injuries. Federal Heights police didn't say whether they were shot. The investigation had Federal Boulevard closed down for hours between West 88th and West 92nd. It's about a half-a-mile stretch. The critical incident response team is still investigating.
Students will now be required to use bathrooms and locker rooms that align with their biological sex within School District 49 in Colorado Springs. The board passed the resolution 3-2 at a special meeting Wednesday night. The controversial policy was first introduced earlier this year to fall in line with a Title IX executive order signed by President Trump. It defines biological sex as 2 genders, male and female, distinct from gender identity. The board says the policy is designed to protect the safety and privacy of all students while ensuring compliance with federal funding requirements. But the policy has been met with resistance since it was first introduced.
This board has become singularly focused on about 1.5% of our student body. This board, if it is ever remembered at all, will be known as a single issue board obsessed with what's happening in our students' underwear.
It's important to note the policy does require all schools and D49 to continue offering single-stall bathrooms for any student who needs them.
3 of the nation's largest public school districts stand to lose $24 million. It's because they missed a Trump administration deadline to agree to change policies supporting transgender students. The U.S. Education Department's Office for Civil Rights had given New York City schools, Chicago public schools, and Fairfax County public schools in Virginia until Tuesday to agree to stop giving students access to locker rooms and restrooms corresponding with their gender identity, or risk losing funding. Because they didn't agree to take action this week, the districts will not be certified, making them ineligible for the grants.
Former FBI Director James Comey was indicted by a federal grand jury after President Donald Trump put public pressure on prosecutors to charge Comey with a crime. The charges are giving false statements and obstruction tied to Comey's testimony to Congress in 2020 about Russian meddling in the 2016 presidential election. If convicted, he faces up to 5 years in prison. Trump forced out a prosecutor who refused to pursue charges against Comey for lack of evidence. Trump installed his former personal attorney, Lindsay Halligan, an insurance attorney who has never prosecuted a case. Halligan grew up in Colorado, went to Holy Family in Broomfield, and then Regis before getting her law degree. She was also a finalist for Miss Colorado. President Trump has called for the prosecution and jailing of a number of his political enemies. Comey released a statement saying he is innocent, adding that he knows there is a price to standing up to Trump, but, quote, "we will not live on our knees."